And a warm welcome to all of you and a happy new year. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Conversations with Michael. Let's take our collective deep breath as we allow all the energies that are here in support of each and every one of us to be more present. Very good. If you missed any of our monthly episodes, you can watch them again on our YouTube channel, or you can also listen to the audio version on your favorite podcast app, and all the links are posted on our website. In today's show, we are, of course, breaking tradition by inviting all of you to experience what truly feels new to you. We know a lot of people use this time of year to try to change things in their life that are feeling stuck. So they make all kinds of New Year's resolutions, basically to sleep more or to eat less. So we begin this new year by declaring that there's really nothing you need to resolve in your life. That would be new. There's really nothing that needs to be fixed. If a problem does exist in your life, more than likely it's the problem solver that created the problem to begin with. The good news is there is a solution to this ongoing human dilemma. But for the most part, it's not a very popular choice. So let's begin today by acknowledging what every being in all of creation has. Every being in all of creation has a story. Some are very open-ended. They allow their own energy to flow in all directions, while others prefer to have their energies managed by different parts of themselves. We devoted our last book entirely to creating a new story, one that would allow the human experience to be soul-filled. But it's not an easy thing to do when you find yourself living inside a very closed system of reality that we have here on this planet as we speak. One that manages for you the flow of energy. One that invites you to exert yourself inside of a variety of power games, or to simply go passive, to shut down and allow others to choose for you. It's why we have put so much energy into being on this planet but not of it. Because from our perspective, over 95% of humanity exists inside of this very closed system of reality. Inside of that reality, creating problems and solving them ends up being a full-time job for most human beings. It actually employs a lot of people. But if humanity is really determined to celebrate a new year that can actually change life in a tangible way, then maybe it's time to try something new. Maybe it's time to create a new story. Maybe it's time to embrace that part of us that is never conflicted. Well, that would be new, but it's also a little awkward. Embracing that part of us that has no doubts, no worries, no concerns as being real. A part of us that doesn't create problems. It creates experiences and has the freedom to change or alter the experience anytime it wants. That part has always existed inside of all of us. But very few seem to be willing to hit the pause button inside their own story to acknowledge its presence. And of course, we're talking about the elusive presence of your soul. Oh, this doesn't mean we don't have tremendous compassion for anyone who feels stuck while living inside of a very closed collective system of reality. But a solution to these endless problems does indeed exist. If it didn't, then we should all dismiss whoever created the template for this physical reality. The problem, my friends, for the problem solver is really simple. The solution exists outside of a perception that has us playing hide and seek with our own divine nature. And of course, we can hear the complaints when we use that term divine. It goes like this: get your head out of the clouds and face the reality that is right in front of you here on earth. So we work with a group of people who did more than that. A part of them does indeed appear to exist in the clouds, which gives them more of a bird's eye view of reality. It supports another part of them that only perceives what is right in front of us. In other words, they choose to participate in this human reality using the eyes and heart of their soul. And what they discovered really blew their mind. Without the presence of the soul, life in general becomes one really big problem. Without the light of our soul, our identity appears to be insignificant, vulnerable, and defenseless. Without the presence of our soul, our identity becomes the roles we are playing. Tell that to any actor or actress, and they might suggest that's not a very healthy approach. And if the trade-off was really that good, by pretending that the light of our soul doesn't really exist, then why are so many people complaining? So yes, we celebrate this new year with all of you, with all of our heart, because it's just such an incredible time to be a human being. But it's also incredibly challenging. We believe that the light of our soul becomes greatly diminished if we're relying on a system or reality that doesn't perceive this light as even being real. So our approach to a human soul experience invites all of you to be on this planet, but not of it. And I know for some of you watching today, that kind of sounds like a cop-out. But until humanity is willing to address the cause, as that relates to the doing and being part of us, the human family will continue to settle for minor repairs, when what was really needed was a reboot to the entire system, beginning with a major shift in our own story. So it is my passion and my joy to work with those that are willing to embrace the light of their soul. The energetic presence from such a choice can literally touch the hearts and mind of our human family. It offers itself as a type of service to our human family in a way that used to be relied on from the angelic realms, the angels themselves. It's a bold choice, one that we have indeed the honor of serving, which brings us back to this celebration. What are we celebrating at this time? Now, my friends, would be a really good time to add to your story the voice of your soul, by allowing that voice to give thanks to our human self for allowing it to also experience itself inside of these physical bodies with us, inside of this human experience. That would be really new. And it represents a fresh new start to this year, 2023, by offering our human part an open, intimate line of communication and support, one that is based on trust, based on mutual respect, that would allow us to experience all the insights that are missing from all that mental processing. It would allow us to experience the wisdom and clarity that is a natural part of our own consciousness. It would allow us to finally experience true freedom from the inside out. So this would be a really good time for the human self to let go of the steering wheel just long enough to actually experience for itself the presence of your own divinity. Such an experience offers a type of freedom that for the most part is completely unknown to most human beings. Because if the presence of your soul doesn't represent a tangible physical experience, then what's the point? What's the point? A toast to that. There is only so much pain a human being can endure. This human family has been crying for some relief for a very, very long time. There are millions of heart-centered human beings who are actively involved with serving the needs of other people, in a variety of ways. Each of them play a vital role in helping to restore the balance on this planet. We also play a role in helping to support them with the light of our soul. And for those that might be curious, also sharing a new way of being human. But that type of service doesn't receive the same kind of recognition, does it? No one's going to thank you for sharing your radiance. In fact, for the most part, they'll see you as just being entitled. So I am very excited about this year for a variety of reasons. Because I do trust in heart-based transformations, ones that encourage taking responsibility for your own life by taking a deep dive inside of your own inner reality. It is the birthright of every single human being to experience a quality of love and support unlike anything most of us have ever felt before. So, if 2023 represents a good time to take that deep dive, well, I say go for it. Go for it. Very good. In today's show, we're going to start by doing something a little different. And then I want to turn this over to Michael. For those of you that are new to our service, welcome. Spend some time on our website to get a better feel for what we're all about. Some of you might remember the episode from, it's been a couple years, that honored some of the people that inspired my life. I wouldn't be where I am today without all the support and guidance I've received from so many people over the years. So today, it also feels like a really good time to spend just a couple minutes showing my appreciation for some of the services we rely on to help support Ancient Wings in a short video. Very good. As a sole proprietor, I rely on all of these services. It wasn't too long ago that over 50% of working people in the United States were self-employed. That's kind of hard to believe. Today, it's less than 6%. During the last 2 years, a lot of people started to realize that the work they were doing wasn't very fulfilling, while at the same time, millions of people are no longer willing to work for a minimum wage. So a lot is shifting in the world as it relates to how to support your life. And if you'd like that choice to be soul-filled, it offers so many new opportunities. I go into a lot more details in the Employ You workshop that you're welcome to rent from our online store anytime. So once again, I want to thank these companies for all of their support. You can find links to each one of them on our resource page on our website. So let's take that deep breath together and turn this over to Michael. I don't go into a trance state, nor do I leave my body. This is a new way to allow the magnificence of your soul to be a part of your day-to-day reality, which gives you the freedom to express any version of who you are as a soul being you want as a human being. Deep breath. And indeed it does. Greetings, it is I, Michael. Another deep breath, please. Very good. And in my relationship to Robert, I would not be here in this way if not for him. And he would not be here if not for me. Each of you have access to your own divine lineage. And for the longest time, the human would act as a spiritual messenger for this presence using the art of channeling. And like so many things, that too is shifting into something new. You're going to hear the word spoken a lot this year, new, over and over and over again. Most of you watching today's episode are in the middle of experiencing a dramatic shift in your own perception of reality. Your awareness of who you think you are is expanding beyond anything humanity has known. In fact, it is so dynamic that your thinking process can feel a little overwhelmed. So our service to a lot of you has to do with shifting your reliance on a mental perspective to a more intuitive and sensual approach. The consequences from such a choice aren't always comfortable, because for the most part, it is your mind that has been playing a role that isn't natural to it. In its natural state, it plays an essential role in your life. Your mind is able to perceive what is right in front of you, close up and very personal, but it doesn't see the bigger picture. In order to perceive that, you can't just change the lens in your eyes. You would need to shift your perception of reality to the being part of you. And what have you discovered? Maybe it would have been easier to try to change the lens in your eyes, because it's not an easy thing to do. But this shift represents a dynamic change in your own personal life. Without the being part being a part of your life, you have a mind that feels completely overwhelmed by the responsibility you have placed on it, a role that it isn't designed to play. Off of this planet, it reflects how your cosmic story has influenced the quality of your life as a human being. Inside of that story resides a very ancient story between the original mother and father of creation. So the world you live in here on earth is indeed out of balance. But so was creation. In a nutshell, the current state of your world represents a state of consciousness that doesn't allow your being part to play a part in its reality. Unlike your doing part, your being part will not force itself upon you. It doesn't suffer from any underlying need to be recognized. It knows who it is and is willing to wait for as long as it takes for you to acknowledge its existence. And from our perspective, this is where so many of you get stuck. Because the doing part of you, your mind, has assumed a role it is not qualified to play. It's pretending to be your being part too. But being you comes with a lot of responsibilities. Eventually, those start to feel like a huge burden. So your mind reminds you every single day. If you wanted to take responsibility for your life, then it will rely on what is known to it and only what is known to it. And what is known to your mind only exists in your past. It will do its very best to try to improve what is known in service to a role that it is not qualified to play. So, the solution to its dilemma, which ends up becoming your problem, has always been there, just waiting to be allowed to play a part in your life while coexisting alongside your doing part. And if not for your human pride, this transition to allowing both the being and doing parts to coexist, well, would have changed your collective history as you know it long ago, both on this planet and off of it. So let's take a deep breath. And let's just acknowledge that your doing part has a great deal of pride. And we honor that part of it. But it's also very stubborn. Its loyalty to playing a role it was not designed to play is truly amazing. But the question remains, are each of you done with allowing this part to represent you as a soul being? Is humanity done with pretending that the being part, their own divinity, exists somewhere outside of them? It would appear to your doing part that everything exists outside of it, including what you perceive to be the source of life, the original self. At least that is how it appears to be without its counterpart. And so it has created its own version of the source of life that, of course, exists outside of itself, which ties in beautifully with how my partner Robert started today's session. Let's talk about the beginning of a new year. And what is new about this year? It looks to us that most of you watching today's session are really done with all those minor adjustments and minor improvements. The choices you are now making are creating new opportunities for you to experience firsthand how it feels to be a conscious creator of your own experience. At the same time, more technological advancements are being created unlike anything you have ever witnessed before. But are those advancements also under the guidance of the being part of you? That part which is capable of perceiving any given reality in all directions, both the past, the present, and your future, which allows you to perceive certain potentials that relate to these new emerging technologies, and allows you to not only rely on logic, but your own intuition as well. Your being part represents the source of your wisdom. Combined with the doing part, you have at your disposal a clear vision of what lies ahead. Your technology can act as an incredible tool to help advance the quality of life for all human beings. But if your being part doesn't play a part in any of those advancements, then the problems you're facing now will appear to be minuscule in comparison. So once again, there is a solution, but it will cost humanity your human pride. It starts by taking the burden off the shoulder of your doing part and allow yourself to experience what has been missing for a very, very long time. The solution was energetically seeded on this planet over 2,000 years ago. All of us can thank Yeshua for that, but some of you also played a part. We have spoken about the seeds of Christ consciousness for the last, 38 years through Robert. It represents something new for the human experience, something new for all of creation, allowing both the being and doing parts of you to now coexist. It represents your natural state as a soul being. And the good news, as it relates to Christ consciousness, you don't have to earn it. You deserve it just as you are, which we know tends to undermine some of your institutions. So what's the point of all the guilt and shame if you deserve it just as you are? It's not something that is given to you, because it was given to all beings when the original self set itself free. But it is something in this human experience that you must reclaim for it to become real. Christ consciousness already exists at the core of your soul. All any being need do is to allow it to come forward. Allow it to come forward, which embraces the natural part of both the doing and being parts of you. And why have so few allowed such a thing? Yes, your pride, but as well, what is missing inside of Christ consciousness? What is missing is all the drama that helps to support the doing part, all the ways this part of you, without its counterpart, needed to support itself, by extracting or consuming energies from what appeared to be outside of it. So Christ's consciousness represents your freedom. The freedom to consciously create with clarity, compassion, and a new sense of love. Allowing such a presence helps to dissolve all those underlying doubts, worries, and concerns. Your underlying fear of your own light. Because with that part of you that creates with so much passion, you discover a joy for now being a sovereign creator. A sovereign creator. How does that feel? Indeed, indeed. You begin to free yourself from all those victim roles and victim energies, which for the most part are but a reflection of your doing part, feeling overwhelmed by life without its counterpart. So as we enter the year 2023, the potential for your being part to play a more significant role in your life is very real. In fact, we would say more so than any other time on this planet. Why is that? Because enough human beings during this lifetime did allow their being part to come forward, to be at the front of their life. Oh, it wasn't an easy choice. For many, it completely rearranged their life. It completely altered their perception of reality. It changed how they perceived themselves, no longer feeling separated from the original self, which in turn opened a doorway into the heavens, so to speak, and allowed Christ's consciousness to begin to water the seeds that were planted over 2,000 years ago on this very planet. Those seeds have been waiting for this very moment, waiting for the potential for an unfiltered experience of its own divine nature. Those seeds started to sprout inside of each of you during this lifetime, the moment you allowed this presence to be present. Now it can make its presence known to this collective human family in a more dynamic way, both from your radiance as a human being and from a new opening in the energy field around this planet. But its presence, my friends, is no longer filtered, meaning that if it isn't allowed to freely express itself, it will not play a part in any group or institution that gives lip service to its presence. Now, every human being can choose for themselves. Every human being can reclaim their own birthright to experience Christ consciousness in a very direct way. But will they allow it? Will they allow it? Will the doing part inside reject the invitation to coexist with this divine part of you? Will the doing part take a stand on behalf of its own story, proclaiming once again that such a thing as a being part doesn't really exist? Because if it did, where has it been? So we invite all of you to feel into your own life. We're not asking you to trust us at face value. We know better than that. If you can't feel this presence with all your senses, then what's the point? Faith alone isn't enough. And there isn't enough logic to hide the pain from feeling so alone. If you're going to step into the unknown, it must also become a tangible physical experience. For a lot of you, no more of this angel talk. Let's make this real as a human being. So we invite all of you to take this moment at the beginning of a new year to do what? We invite you to just stop. Stop. Stop what, you might ask? Stop doing. Stop doing. Stop thinking. Just long enough to feel what is really going on inside of you. Just stop and pay attention to your breath. In-breath, out-breath. In-breath, out-breath. And begin to allow something deep inside of you that has always been there to now come to the surface. You can't try to allow. That's once again making your doing part responsible for this experience. Feel how easy it is for your body to just breathe. No effort at all. In and out. In and out. Stay with your breathing. And without trying, just notice any changes in how you're feeling, because you are now allowing the being part of you to step forward. And what we invite you to feel is so natural to you, because what we are inviting you to feel is you. Is you. To be also this divine presence that indeed has always existed inside of you. It is you too. It has just been waiting for you to allow it to come forward. What a state of grace. To never interfere, to never need to push itself. It gives you the freedom to choose, to allow it to come forward. It's such a natural experience if you do allow it. But it can also radically change your life. And that's a good thing, right? Right? Now, if you're not feeling anything, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. It would be completely natural for your doing part to question, be what? And from the human perspective, the doing part will try to filter that experience of allowing the being part to be present for its own survival. Because it's been in the dark. It's been so alone for so long. It started to believe that its counterpart didn't even exist. All you're doing is allowing yourself to just be. Just be. Then, and really only then, do all the games stop. All the effort that went into trying to improve yourself, that all stops. Trying to create more control over your own happiness by setting goals or creating deadlines, thinking that if you can just maintain your focus a little longer, maybe, just maybe, you'll finally experience some type of fulfillment. But is this just not the same game that keeps repeating itself over and over again? Feeding those human emotions with a few feel-good moments that come and go so quickly. When you allow your being part to be a part of your life, it's no longer about becoming happy. And it's really no longer about achieving some kind of state of enlightenment. It's just about experiencing you, that divine part of you, while honoring both the doing and being parts of you that can now reside inside your own creations. So at the beginning of this new year, what we will be celebrating is the time, my friends, that all of you just decided to stop. Stop. Stop all the processing. Stop listening to all the mind chatter. And let yourself experience how it truly feels to be you as a soul being at its core. You'll be amazed how good it feels to just feel you. Throughout your day, stop completely whatever you're doing. Remind yourself to feel you. Remind yourself to allow the being part of you to be you too. How do you know it's you? It will feel good to you. It will feel really good to you. So, my friends, 2023 represents a long time coming, a type of second coming, as that relates to Christ consciousness, this isn't the time to plant more seeds. That was already done. This is the time to give such a consciousness the freedom to express itself as you too, in whatever way your divinity and your humanity choose, as partners in this new experience. But let's be honest here. If this message was received by all of humanity, well, there would be some that might be curious, some that might even want to dig a little deeper. But most would invite Robert to get real. So we are speaking to those that have chosen to be at the front line of a radical shift in consciousness on this planet. And now it is your time. It is your time to step forward. But you won't have the courage. You won't have the clarity. You won't have the love without your being part. Now it's time to play the role you agreed to play. The only thing we'll ask of you to sacrifice is your human pride. You didn't do anything wrong. Like everyone else on and off this planet, you just forgot. And then you awakened. And so it is that we come to the close of a very special session, the beginning of a new year, with so much to look forward to. While at the same time, your patience will be tested over and over again as you continue to watch all the power games play out on this planet, all in the name of the doing part that has convinced itself that it is all alone. If not for its pride, this self-imposed type of suffering for the doing part could end right now. Take a deep breath. No matter what unfolds in the days ahead, our joy is to act as supports to those of you that have chosen to allow your being part to coexist with your doing part. We celebrate that choice with you every single day, every moment of your day. It's finally time to celebrate what you have always felt in your heart. To be real arrives this year in a very direct but very subtle way. Take care of yourself, my friends. You are never alone. Until we meet again, all of our blessings.